In the last class, we are at the multicollinearity. So I suppose my handwriting is readable. Fine. So we are going for this multicollinearity. So what is the multicollinearity? So multicollinearity is just a problem. So when we had looked at, we are having some globally significant model is available, but when we are checking the significance of each variable uh, in presence of another variable, so what we got is that both those variables are insignificant in the presence of the another. So the problem of multicollinearity exists when two or the more regressor variables are strongly correlated to, or we can say that they are independent on each other. So let's say we are in a line. So we want to fit a line. This is y equals to x beta plus epsilon. So this is our standard equation. So this is my output, and this is my observation, and this is the unknown parameters that we are having. And after getting the least sum of square method, what we got is that estimated beta is just a x transpose x inverse x transpose y. So this is what we got as an estimation. So this will be replaced here, and we'll get a new predicted y by replacing this beta hat over here. Now, if x transpose x is a singular, this x transpose is a singular, that means that its determinant is 0. So we can't say that, or we cannot get uh, inverse of this matrix over here. So if it is a singular, it means that we are getting an uh, uh, determinant is equals to 0, and we are having determinant is equals to 0. तो जब हम इनवर्स निकालते हैं तो हमारे डिटर्मिनेंट जो होता है वो जस्ट आगे हमारे 1 बाय डिटर्मिनेंट हो जाता है. तो दिस डिटर्मिनेंट जब डिनोमिनेटर में 0 आता है तो वी कैन से दैट वी डोंट हैव एनी इनवर्स ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर फंक्शन. सो व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू गेट इज दैट we don't want this singular matrix over here. So when this happens, so this happens when at least one of the column is x is linearly dependent on each other. जब मैंने आपको ये समझाया भी था तो हमने इस चीज पर फोकस करा था. So it means that some columns, or at least one column, is linearly dependent on another column. It means that we are getting some null entries in our matrix. So we'll get some null values, or we can say that we are having some column spaces which is not equals to the rank of matrix. So it suggests that there should be some probability that multicollinearity will exist in your system, and when multicollinearity exists in your system, it means that you are in some trouble. So let's consider the example for this. So let's say we are having data. This is x1, x2, and x3. So I'm having three attributes. There are three attributes are available. So this is x1 is 1 2 4 7 8, and x2 is minus 2 7 3 1 and minus 1, and x3 is 4 11 5 13 and 17. Similarly, we are having the output variable. This is 81 88 94 95 and 93. So when we try to fit our model, so we'll get y equals to beta naught. So beta naught, when I'm considering the beta naught, it means that I'm having again x0 whose values are 1 1 1 1. So this y equals to beta naught plus beta 1 x0 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3 plus some error. So this is our uh, exact model, or we can say that this is our true model available now. So question arises that can we uniquely fit this model, because when we are having some linear dependence on each other on this model, so we can say that if this is an linear dependence, so at least one column or at least one row should be 0. So we are having, let's say we are having few numbers, uh, more unknown variables, and we are having few equations over there. So when we are in few equations and more unknown variables, then we can say that we don't have any unique solution available for our model. So uh, I will start it with my again. So first let's check this line again. Let check this line. This x2, this is my x2. plus x3. This is x2 plus x3. So this is x2 plus x3 is equals to twice of your x1. So when we are getting this x2 plus x3, or we can say that again, this is our model x2 plus x3. So this is my x2 plus x3. So this is 4 minus 2. So 4 minus 2 is you are getting 2. So this is equals to 2 of, this is a 2 of x1. So we can say that we are having some linear relation. Again we are checking this 11 minus 7 is equals to twice of x1. Again 3 plus 5 is just equals to twice of 4. So twice of x1. So we can say that there exists a linear relationship, or we can say that x1 is equals to x2 plus x3 by 2. So we can say that we are getting some linear relationship. So it means that x1, this column x1, this x1 is linearly dependent on x2 and x3. So when we are going from this elimination model, when you had already read this on a linear algebra section. So when you are going from this elimination, you'll get this column as an 0. So this will be reduced by 0. Or when we are getting some column subtraction, so what we can get is that we are applying some column subtraction or elimination, this column will be 0. So what we are getting is that we are in too much number of we don't have any solution for this x1. So we cannot say that we can have some unique field for this model, because x2 can take any value, or not x2, this beta 1 can take any values, because it reduces to 0 over here. So we can't say that we are getting some exact solution available over here. So it means that your x transpose x becomes a singular matrix, and that is the determinant of x transpose x is 0. It means that you are getting this x transpose x is 0. So determinant of this matrix is 0. So we don't have this inverse of this matrix that is being available. So we can say that we are having multicollinearity with our model. So first we'll check what are the effects of multicollinearity, or we can say that what are the problems due to multicollinearity that arises in our data. So first is that if strong multicollinearity between your regressor, it will result in a large variance and the large covariance of your regression coefficients. So let's consider your multiple linear regression with your two regressors. So let's say this is my model. So this is yi equals to, this is beta naught plus beta 1 x1 I, then beta 2 x2 I2 x2, and this is my epsilon I. So this is my indexer position. It means that it is just an instance. So when I'm trying to remove instance, so I can remove this I over here, because this is an indexer available here. So what is our x matrix available? So our x matrix is just equals to this x equals to, this is my x naught, so this is my x naught, then this comes x1 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 1 1 x2 1. So here this is x1 1 1, then we are having another instance. So we can say that, let's say this is y2, so we'll get x2 1 over here. So this is x2, and this is similar to xn1. Similarly we are having this xi2, so this is 1 2 x2 1 x and 2. So we are having this matrix that is being n cross 3 matrix available here. Now we want to apply some centering and scaling on regression data. So let's say this xi, so we are applying some centering and scaling. So this is how we can apply centering or scaling. So centering and scaling, this means that we are going for just similar to your central limit theorem. So this is my xii minus this my mean of this xi. So this mean of xi is x1 is just x1 bar. So this is xii minus each item of xi minus x bar upon this is my just an variance. So this my variance is just is equals to xii minus x1 bar the whole square. So this is my variance available, and this is my mean. This is summation of xi's upon n. So this is my xi. So this is how we can write xi is equals to, again xi2 is equals to, again similarly we can have yi is available. So this is my yi, which is equals to yi minus y bar upon syy. So this is my syy. So this is my variance of sy. Now then when we shifted to our standard normal distribution, so when we are going to this, it means that we are moving to standard normal deviation distribution. It means that we are having mean is equals to 0 and standard deviation is equals to 1. Instead, if we are considering only this value, then we can have some mean available, that is x1 bar. We can have some mean available, this is x2 bar. So when we are moving to this by applying this, we can say that we are moving to our standard normal distribution. It means that we are having mean is equals to 0 and our variance is just equals to 1. Now again, going for this equation, this is y equals to beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus epsilon. So when we are trying to fit our model, so we'll get our beta naught is equals to y bar minus beta 1 beta beta 1 head into x1 head minus beta 2 head into x2 head. So this is how we can say that our beta is equals to. So this is just an estimator of our beta naught. So after scaling, so when we are going for after scaling, so it means that my mean is equals to 0. So my mean, when my mean is equals to 0, it means that this y bar or this x1 bar and this x2 bar is equals to 0. We are saying that our mean is equals to 0 because we applied some scaling over here. So what we'll get? So we'll get beta naught, beta head estimated is equals to 0. So we can omit beta naught from our model. Fine. So we are omitting our beta naught from our model. So what we'll get? We'll get yi equals to beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus epsilon. So my matrix is converges to, this is just equals to x11 x12 x21 x22 xn1 xn2. Instead, what we can have is that we will remove this x1 over here because we will converge to, we'll apply our scaling method and we'll remove all those constant ones over there. Now again, this x, what is this x1? So this is my small x1. So this, what is this, my small x1? So this is my small x1 is equals to capital X1 minus x1 bar upon the variance of s1. So we replaced over here. So this we replace this xi1 by these values available here. So what we can get is, we are removing these values, we had removed these values, and this value is replaced by this particular value. So we'll get this matrix over here. So as we know that our estimated beta is just equals to x transpose x inverse x transpose y. So we'll going to our normal equation. This is x transpose, मैंने इसको again left side में ले लिया, तो this is just equals to x transpose x into beta is equals to x transpose y. So I am just writing this equation. So what we can have is that this is 1 1 and this is r12 and r21. What is this? This is just my correlation matrix available over, you can see this is my correlation matrix available here, and this is what is r12. This r12 is the sample correlation between x1 and x2. So this is r21. Again, r12 is equals to r21 because this is a symmetric matrix. Again, when we are having, why we are getting this one? Because we are having, this is xi square available here. So this is my xi square available here. So this is my xi square available over here. So we can say that we are getting these values is equals to, these values are equals to, just equals to summation of all those values. So we will get 1 over here. Is it fine? Now again, what is this r1y and this is r2y? So these are just a simple correlation between x1. So this is my x1. So this is it means that simple correlation between x1 and y, and this is the simple correlation between your x2 and y. So we can say that this is r2y and this is r1y. Till now, any problem? I think no problem. So we can say that I can proceed. So when we are getting this r1y, so what is the value of this r1y? So this r1y is just equals to xi minus x1 bar into yi minus y bar into under root of s11 into syy. And similarly, we are having this r12. So this r12 is this xi1 minus x1 bar into xi2 minus x2 bar. So this is just an correlation matrix. आप इसको just solve करेंगे. When you solve this equation, this you'll replace all this value, and you'll when you replace solve this value, so you will get this value. So instead of writing this bigger values, I just replacing these values by r12 and r21 over here. So this is how, this is we get our matrix equals to x transpose x, and this is just equals to r21. So don't be panic, हमको इतना अंदर नहीं जाना है. आई एम जस्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग व्हाई वी आर गेटिंग दिस लार्जर वेरिएंस ओवर हियर. सो आई एम जस्ट शोइंग व्हाई वी आर गेटिंग दिस r1 greater r1 values over here. So this is how we can say that our x transpose x is just equals to, so this is my x transpose x, so this is my x transpose x. So ये कैलकुलेट करा था ना, वी आर कैलकुलेटिंग द इनवर्स ऑफ दिस x ट्रांसपोज x. सो विल गेट द इनवर्स वैल्यू इज जस्ट इक्वल्स टू ओवर हियर. सो दिस इज माय इनवर्स वैल्यू ऑफ दिस मैट्रिक्स. सो इनवर्स कैसे निकालना है, दिस इज माय सिंपल व्हाट कैन से, दिस इज 2 क्रॉस 2 मैट्रिक्स. तो 2 क्रॉस 2 मैट्रिक्स में फर्स्ट विल कैलकुलेट द डिटरमिनेंट. तो डिटरमिनेंट ऑफ दिस मॉडल इज इक्वल्स टू 1 माइनस r12 into r21, और वी कैन से दैट 1 माइनस r12 होल स्क्वायर. सो हमने दिस इज हमारे पास बाहर ही आ जाएगा, दिस इज 1 अपॉन r12 स्क्वायर. सो वी आर हैविंग सम डिटरमिनेंट. नाउ when we are calculating the 2 cross 2 matrix inverse, so we just replace swap this value. So again swapping this value, so 1 को यहाँ से swap करा, so we are again getting the values of 1 over here, and again we are swapping this value with our negative sign, so we'll get the negative sign here over here. So this is my r12, this becomes my negative of r12, and again this is my not we are not swapping all this value, we are just putting the minus sign over here. So this is my r12 and this is my negative of r21. So this is how we get the inverse of this matrix, the simple solution. Otherwise you can calculate and identify what is the formula, applying your formula on the inverse. So this is my x transpose x inverse. So this is my x transpose inverse. So my estimated beta hat is equals to x transpose x inverse into what, into x transpose y. So this is my x transpose y. So we'll get this x transpose, this is my x transpose x inverse, and this is x transpose y. So this is how we calculate the value of beta transpose. Now one, we are having some multicollinearity available. So multicollinearity हुई तो हमने ये values calculate करी. Now so let's say I am just calculating my beta 1 and beta 2. So हम इसको जब just calculate करेंगे तो we are getting some matrix available. So my vector available, so that vectors contains first beta 1 hat and this is my beta 2 hat. So जब इसको solve करेंगे, so what we'll get is beta 1 hat is just equals to this, and again this beta 2 hat is equals to over here. Now we are starting with the point that when we are having strong multicollinearity between the regressors, so it will result a larger variance and the covariance regression coefficient. So considering the variance of this beta 1 and beta 2, and we have to prove that when multicollinearity happens, it means that the variance of our beta 1 is equals to infinity and variance of this beta 2 is just equals to infinity. So we'll calculate our variance of beta 1. So beta, so we know that the variance of beta j is equals to the sigma square of x transpose x inverse minus the particular value. So when we are considering the particular jth value, so we'll consider the particular value of that covariance matrix available here. So let's say this is my covariance matrix available here, x transpose x. Where is my x transpose x? Yeah, so this is my x transpose x. So this is, let's say I am considering the beta 1, so I'll consider this value. This is my first value. So what we'll consider is that this is beta 1 1 and this is beta 2 2. So here I will consider the x transpose x inverse. So this is what the value I'll get. So variance of beta 1 is equals to sigma square upon 1 minus r12 square. Why? This is sigma upon 1 minus r12. So this is my sigma square upon r12. Similarly for the beta 2, again we'll get sigma square upon 1 minus r square 1 2. So if we are having the strong multicollinearity between x1 and x2, then our correlation coefficient will be large. So that is, it is just equals to near, it just equals to, or it equals to, or it tends to 1. So our correlation is equals to 1. It means that this is my correlation coefficient. So this is my correlation coefficient is tending towards 1. So when it is tending towards 1, or it is equals to 1, it means that we are getting 1 minus 1 over here. And when we are getting 1 minus 1 over here, so it means that we are getting infinity available here. So it means that when we are getting a strong correlation between, when we are getting a strong multicollinearity between your regressor variables, then we can say that this value, this correlation between 1 and 2, this value is moving toward 1. And when we are having the value is equals to 1, it means that we are having a strong correlation available here. So any problem इसमें फर्स्ट पॉइंट में, दिस इज द इफेक्ट ऑफ मल्टीकोलिनियरिटी. एनी प्रॉब्लम? एम आई ऑडिबल?
सर R12 टेंडिंग टू 1, सर वो क्या बताता है, एक बार बताइए.
When we are assuming that there exists a strong correlation between x1 and x2, is it? So when we are having the strong correlation between x1 and x2, so it means that we are having a correlation coefficient available. This is, let's say we are having a Pearson correlation coefficient. So when we are having a Pearson correlation coefficient and both are exactly linearly independent of each other, it means that your x1 is dependent on x2 and they are having a strong relationship. It means that their correlation values moves to 1. Fine?
Yes, sir.
So if we are getting the 1 minus 1 over here, if we are getting 1 minus 1 over here, it means that we are getting the value 0 over here. And if we are having 0 in the denominator, it means that the variance is equals to infinity.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So when we are having the value that is equals to a correlation is strongly correlated, either it is not equals to let's say 1 but is just equals to 0.95, then we are getting a stronger value available here. So we are 0.95 though, so this value is just some in some value that is in some decimal value. So again the difference is very small, so it tends to 0. So when we are moving tending towards 0 in the denominator, it means that your overall value tends to your infinity. So it means that we can say that a stronger value, a stronger multicollinearity between your regressor variables, it tends to the infinite variance. So हम जब वेरिएंस कैलकुलेट करने की कोशिश करेंगे ना, हमारा बीटा 1 का, हमारा हमने जो बीटा 1 कैलकुलेट करा था एस्टिमेशन में, तो वो बीटा 1 हमारा कहीं पे भी आ सकता है. इट मीन्स दैट वी डोंट हैव एनी यूनिक सोल्यूशन अवेलेबल, क्योंकि बीटा 1 मान लो हमारा प्लस इन्फिनिटी से माइनस इन्फिनिटी के बीच में कुछ भी जा रहा है. व्हेन वी डोंट हैव सम मल्टीकोलिनियरिटी अवेलेबल, देन वी हैव सम फिक्स वैल्यू ऑफ बीटा, जैसे हम लोगों ने कैलकुलेट करा था. बट व्हेन वी आर इन मल्टीकोलिनियरिटी, तो आपका बीटा कुछ भी वैल्यू ले सकता है. जब बीटा कुछ भी वैल्यू ले सकता है, इट मीन्स दैट वी कैन गो फॉर particular specific value available here. So either it is positively related or negatively correlated. So this square finally converges to the positive value. So we will get infinity over here. So is it fine? Any problem in this? So I am just moving to another point. So now question is that if we have more than 2 regressor variables available here, then what we can show is that then we can show that we can have some diagonal elements of this x transpose x. क्योंकि मैंने क्या करा था, मैंने जब इसका कोवेरियंस निकाला था, तो हम यहाँ पर सिर्फ डायगोनल एलिमेंट्स ही ले रहे हैं. These are my diagonal elements. This is beta 1. So this is my, when we are calculating this variance of beta 1, so we are calculating just a diagonal element here. So ये value कुछ भी है, हम these are independent of each other because we are considering diagonal elements. So when we are having these diagonal values available here, so let's say yeah, so we are having diagonal elements of this x transpose x inverse. So it will just like 1 upon 1 minus rj square. So this j value is moving, can range from 1 to k minus 1. So we can replace our r12 by just rj, and it is just the coefficient of your multiple determination instead of your simple regression variable. So your xj is just equals to function of x1, x2, xj minus 1 plus xj1 up to xk minus 1. So for example, we had started with like x1 is equals to x2 plus x3. So the variance of beta is equals to sigma square upon x transpose x inverse jj. So when we are having multiple correlation, how we can write? We can write is just equal to sigma square upon 1 minus rj square instead of this small, दिस इज स्मॉल आर जे, क्योंकि हमने हमारे पास दो स्मॉल वैल्यूज थी, दो वैल्यूज थी. Now we are considering the multiple regression available. So this is again, we can have this rj is equals to 1. It means that we are having some strong correlation, and when we are getting this strong correlation, it means that we are moving towards infinity. So this is my first problem. Now the second problem of multiple collinearity. So the second problem of the multicollinearity is that the multicollinearity tends to promote your least square estimate of beta hat. This least square estimate of your beta hat that is too far from your two parameter. मतलब जो हमारे two parameters आने चाहिए थे, पहला तो variance बहुत ज़्यादा आ रहा है, then we are moving towards very far from your two values. जितना आना चाहिए था उससे हम कहीं exactly कहीं दूर आ रहे हैं. Like let's say an example, what can I say that हमने TCS ली थी. This is considering that we are studying computer science, and then instead of getting all those computer science, what we are learning is that we are learning this statistical thing. So this multicollinearity tends to promote your least square estimate that are too far from your two parameters. So हमारा expectation क्या था और हमारे पास values क्या आ रही है, isn't it? Yeah. So the estimate of your ith coefficient, let's say this is my estimate of your ith coefficient regressor. So this is my estimated beta I and this estimate. So this beta I minus your true value. So we are getting the least square estimate. So least square estimate of this true value is this equals to beta I minus beta estimated I minus beta I summation of all i's. Then we are having square values. Now we are calculating the estimates of this least square. So we just calculate the estimate. So these are my expectation of this beta hat minus beta I. So what we'll get is that actually this is a constant value, so we'll not go in for this. So and again and we know that the estimated of this beta hat I is just equals to beta I. हमने last semester में calculate भी करा था. So again we are expanding this. So we are expanding this by, we are having the estimate of beta hat I minus this is beta expectation of beta I. So we are moving this again, so whole square. So what we get is that we are getting the variance of beta hat I, and again the variance of beta hat I is equal to sigma square of x transpose x whole inverse II. So what will again get this sigma square upon 1 minus r square again. So this is our coefficient of multiple determination available over here. Now so when there is a multicollinearity exists between here, so it means that this value will become very large. Instead अगर ये exactly 1 नहीं हो रहा है, इसका मतलब ये है कि इसकी वैल्यू exactly 1 नहीं है पर exact 1 के आसपास जा रही है, तो हमारा डिनोमिनेटर बहुत छोटा हो रहा है. जब हमारा डिनोमिनेटर बहुत छोटा हो रहा है, इट मीन्स दैट वी आर गेटिंग द एक्सपेक्टेशन ऑफ योर least square estimate. This least square estimate again moves to infinity. It means that your correlation is exactly equals to 1. So we can say that when there is a strong multicollinearity between your system, आपको इस पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, हम सिर्फ उसका इफेक्ट समझ रहे हैं. So let's say when we are having a strong collinearity, it means that your actual values varies from your true values varies from your estimated value, or your estimated values very far from your true values, and the variance of this expected values are just very large enough, or it tends to infinity. So we can say that what we can say that this multicollinearity just arise or give some wrong estimates of your true values. Again, the third problem says that this the model coefficients, that is your beta naught and beta heads i's. So if we are suppose or we are assuming that their sign is negative, multicollinearity, if multicollinearity is exists, then we'll get positive sign, or if we are expecting the positive sign of this coefficients, we'll get the negative sign. So we'll get some uh, uh, different signs of your multicollinearity. Again, the next problem is that, let's say if you are having high significant value in global f test, uh, uh, but in when we are considering the presence of each coefficient in presence of another, then will not get that sufficient values for all those values. So it just gives you wrong estimates of your values when you are having some multicollinearity. So let's say हम लोगों ने ये वाला एग्जांपल तो चेक कर लिया था, so I'm not going for these values again. I'm just moving to again a different problem to detect. We are having different techniques to detect your multicollinearity that are being available. So we are having 4 types of problems that are caused by your multicollinearity. Now, how to detect your multicollinearity if there exists in your data. So first is that you can examine it by your correlation matrix. So let's say we'll calculate x transpose x inverse when we are like to estimate our beta. So we are having some correlation matrix, that is x transpose x available. So when we are having x transpose x available, so if we are having x transpose x and we are having this xi as an xj, and this xi and xj's are when we are calculating, so we are having a value of xi and xj is represented as rij. So when this rij tends to your unity, or it moves like in 0.99 or 0.96 or something else, it means that it is tending towards unity. So we can say that we are having some strong correlation between them. So if we are having strong correlation in between them, so we can say that there exists multicollinearity between your data. Fine. Is it fine? So if you are having a strong Pearson coefficient between two attributes, so it means that we are having some strong correlation. Instead of calculating that x1 with x2 and x2 with x3 and x3 with x1, what we calculate is that we'll calculate the correlation matrix of all these values. So we'll get x, we'll multiply x by x, and if the non-diagonal elements are tending towards unity, it means that we are going for multicollinearity. Is it fine? Fine. Now, so when you are examining this correlation matrix, it is helpful in detecting your linear independence between a real regressor variables. But when we are having a linear dependence, let's say we had calculated that x1 is equals to x2 plus x3 by 2. So in this case, we are unable to calculate the linear independence between two or three more than two regressor variables if it it is if it is exists. So what we can do is that, let's consider an example of our data. So this is my data. So this is my y, and this is x1, x2, x3, x4, x5, and x6. So this is my data that is being available over here. Now this data suffers for multicollinearity, but when we are checking that if there is a direct relationship between some elements, let's say this 8111, so I could not identify if there is a linear independence between these two data, because here it is 1, here it is 1, and if it is 1, again this is 0, and if it is 0 it is 1, it is 0 it is 1, it is 1. So we cannot identify where there exists some collinearity available, but there exists an collinearity. So let's check its correlation matrix. This is X transpose X available here. So let's check this correlation matrix available here. So this X transpose X is just equals to this value. So when we are saying that we are getting negative value, it means that they are negatively correlated. It means if x1 is increasing, then x2 is decreasing. So I am just considering this is in my symmetric matrix. So मेरे upper triangular matrix में भी वही value होगी और मेरे पास lower triangular matrix में भी वही value होगी. Now check this value. If you are getting like this is minus 0.505, so it means that we are having some suspicious value that are being available over here. Why we are saying that we are having suspicious value? So let's say when we are considering the Rij is just greater than equals to 0.9, it means that we are having some multicollinearity problem. But what about this 0.505? It means that we are in moderately correlation, or we can't say that there exists in correlation because we are having 50% chances of multicollinearity available, but we are having some multicollinearity available. So how to detect this? So we'll detect it by using our eigenvalue analysis. So check eigenvalues of this X transpose X again. So let's say our multicollinearity again we can calculate it by your eigenvalue. So let's say we are having k minus 1 regressor variables. So when we are calculating the X transpose X, it means that we are having lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda up to lambda k minus 1. So these are assumed to be the diagonal elements of your correlation matrix. So if there exists one or more linear dependency in between your data, then what we can say that we are having one or more eigenvalues will be smaller. So let's say we consider an coefficient. Let's say we are having some k value and we are having the lambda max and we are having some lambda mean. So let's say what is this lambda max? This is the highest value of your eigenvalue, and this lambda mean is just the smallest eigenvalue of your eigenvalue. So if your lambda mean is very small, then we can say that your k is just equals to very large instead of getting this lambda max. So it means that your k is very large. So we can say that there is a strong linear dependence between your data. So what we can say that we are having some general rules. So if we are getting the k which is equals to less than 100, it indicates that we are not getting into some serious problem with multicollinearity. But when we are having this values lies between 100 to 1000, so it can say that we are suffering from this multicollinearity. जैसे हमारे पास let's say we are having some asymptotic COVID patients available. So this is equals to this 100 to 1000, and we are having a k value, k is greater than 1000, then we can say that we are asymptotic in the multicollinearity. So this is how we can identify different these are different techniques to identify your multicollinearity. So when we are having two variables that are being dependent on each other, then we'll check by correlation matrix their correlation coefficient, and if we are having multiple regressors that are associated with each other, so then we'll go for eigenvalues of this correlation matrix, and we'll check its ratio of your maximum versus minimum value of eigenvalues. So we are having three ranges available. So if we are getting value higher than 1000, it means that we are suffering from multicollinearity. Fine. So again, so the condition of your particular indices is that for particular case value, let's say हम किसी particular किसी एक value पे consider कर रहे हैं, so let's say this is kj. So this lambda max by your lambda j, we are not considering a minimum value. So it might be a problem that you are having a large variance between your lambda max and lambda min. Now considering particular two attributes. So let's say first consider the lambda max versus then particular attributes. So it might be your k right from first value to the k minus 1. So we can have some particular value, then if we are getting some this particular values is just in between these ranges. So if it is in ranges, if it satisfy one of these ranges, then we can say that we are having a strong correlation in between them. So let's say if we are having some data, मैंने जो पिछली बार दिखाया था, so for that particular value we are having some lambda 1, this is lambda 2, this is lambda 3, lambda 4, lambda 5 and lambda 6. So this is my lambda maximum, this is my lambda minimum. Now again I am checking the value of maximum by minimum, so it means that I am getting 0.2448 upon 0.001, so its value is equals to 2.20 2188. It means that we are having a strong multicollinearity, जबकि हमको उस डेटा में strong multicollinearity नहीं दिखी थी. So this is how we can calculate a strong multicollinearity in between our data. Next class में हम इसको और आगे पढ़ते हैं. Meanwhile, if you are having some problem, then you can ask me.